Good afternoon, I'm Ronan Kenny from the Architectural Association of Ireland. Welcome to the first of our Lightning Lectures, a new online series at lunchtime, free for all our followers to enjoy during this unpredictable pandemic. We will be releasing new talks regularly, and I want to create a bit of discussion from emerging voices. So if you have something you want to get across to our audience, we'll be happy to share it, and you can find more information on our website, architecturalassociation.ie, which has just been redesigned by me. Now, we have on the call Karolina from the movement Irish Architects Declaring a Climate and Biodiversity Emergency. Hello, Karolina, how are you?
Hi. Good, how are you doing?
Not too bad. Hopefully we stay within the 10 minutes. No worries if it goes slightly over because, it's just supposed to be a lunchtime thing for people to watch. And okay, well, the first question is just to introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Catriona Duggan. I work for Gottstein Architects and I'm involved in the Architects Declare movement in Ireland.
Hi, I'm Karolina Backman. I work as a researcher and architect for RKD Architects and am also involved with the Architects Declare movement in Ireland.
Great. So when you're ready, you can start your talk.
Okay, so we are Architects Declare Ireland, and thank you to the AAI for asking us to present as part of the Lightning Lecture series. So some context, the twin crises of climate breakdown and biodiversity collapse are the most serious issue of our time. Immediate actions to limit these environmental crises are integral to achieving the targets set out in both the Paris Climate Agreement and the Sustainable Development Goals, which call on everyone, everywhere to take action. In September 2018, the IPCC declared that there are only 12 years left to limit climate change catastrophe. We now have less than 10, and the UN has declared this the decade of action. Changing our current degenerative path of business as usual will require collective will across all levels of government, businesses and civil society, and a paradigm shift in our behaviours. The coming years will be decisive in shaping our common future. Now is the time for us all to act. So buildings and construction have a major part to play in climate breakdown, contributing to the erosion of our natural habitats and accounting for 36% of carbon emissions in the EU. Architects can impact directly in mitigating climate change and biodiversity loss through the responsible design and delivery of building projects. According to REBA, approximately 80% of a building's sustainability performance is determined in the first 6 weeks of a project. And because architects are usually the first point of contact for clients and project teams, we therefore have a crucial role to play in leading sustainable outcomes. So recognising the immediate change that is now required, the Architects Declare initiative was launched in the UK in May 2019. The 11 pledge declaration calls on architects and other members of the construction industry to commit to the paradigm shift required across the whole sector. Architects Declare is now a global movement which is established in 23 countries around the world, from Ireland and the UK, most of mainland Europe, to the US, Canada, Australia, Singapore, South Africa, and it's almost 5,000 practice signatories. In Ireland, we currently have 118 practice signatories with representation in region, practice size, public and private sector, and education. The pledges of the declaration commit to raise awareness of the climate and biodiversity emergencies, 2, to advocate for faster change in our industry towards regenerative design practices and higher levels of funding to support this, to establish a climate change mitigation principle as the key measure of success, which will be reflected in all our awards and publications, to evaluate all new projects against the aspiration to mitigate climate breakdown, to share knowledge and research on an open source basis, to upgrade existing buildings for extended use as a more efficient alternative to demolition, to include life cycle costing, whole life carbon modelling and post-occupancy evaluation as part of our basic scope of work in order to reduce operational and embodied carbon. and to adopt more regenerative design principles in our studios with the aim of going beyond the standard of net zero carbon in use. Collaborate with engineers, contractors and clients to reduce waste construction on site, to accelerate the shift to low embodied carbon materials in all our work, and to minimise the wasteful use of resources in architecture and planning. Our vision is to transform the built environment by 2030 so that it is planned, constructed and operated within planetary boundaries, delivering positive social impacts for all. So central to the Architects Declare movement is the theory of change and how to shift paradigms. Here we've drawn on the work of Donella Meadows, Jeremy Lent and Kate Rayworth to show that if we want to create real and transformative change, then we really need to have a rethink of our existing value systems and economic models. So Donella Meadows argues that the key leverage point for change in any system is to alter the mindset. Because mindset guides behaviours, changing them can have a profound impact, and all it takes is a new way of seeing. Secondly, Jeremy Lent proposes that we are very close to experience environmental collapse, and that we now need a new value system whereby sustainability will become a foundational principle upon which to build all of our futures, and that we should have a greater emphasis on quality of life rather than material possessions. And lastly, the economist Kate Rayworth proposes that we move away from outdated economic models which are solely based on linear growth to a new circular model where we can meet the needs of all within the means of the planet. The emphasis is on societies thriving rather than just economies growing. Our aim is to focus and accelerate this change through better collaboration, advocacy, leadership, and by addressing the knowledge and skills gaps that exist within our profession. So now we can start by looking at some of the current relevant frameworks that are geared towards the construction sector. And I'll hand you over to Karolina to speak about this.
So there are already existing frameworks, guides and initiatives that clearly outlines what the construction sector can and must do to accelerate this necessary paradigm shift. Architects Declare Ireland have identified a collection of the most recent and notable frameworks that every architect should be aware of to understand the urgency of action and available target methodology for various core sustainability indicators to ensure success. A list of these are available on our website and consists of the UN Sustainable Development Goals, EU levels, the EU initiative to standardize sustainable building performance, 12 Green Building Council's embodied carbon upfront, addressing the importance of whole life carbon, Green Black 2030 Climate Challenge, outlining clear goals and targets, UBA Sustainable Outcomes Guide, Leech Climate Margin Design Guide, and embodied carbon primer, all providing tangible suggestions on how we get there. Based on these guiding frameworks, we have identified key themes to form an integrated vision of what the construction sector must strive to deliver. The themes of the vision are addressing whole life carbon, circular and efficient resource use, enhancing biodiversity, responsible relationship to water, ensuring community and social value, improving health and well-being. Each of these themes have basic targets and metrics available to guide design and delivery. The seventh theme that ties them all together is performance and delivery, outlining proactive strategies to optimize performance and ensure a long-term and holistic approach to sustainability. This includes early sustainability actions, iterative design process, performance analysis of design, and post-occupancy evaluation. To realize this integrated vision and enable change, we have established working groups to focus on staying up to date with the latest industry research, developing useful targets and tools, communication, events and media, showcasing leadership and expanding our collaborative efforts and outreach, advocating for policy and legislation to address the most important issues of our time and support the movement of change. Architects Declare Ireland is also collaborating with Architects Declare Global to share knowledge and initiatives through bi-monthly meetings, with Architects Declare UK to develop a practice guide, and the RIAI, Irish Green Building Council, Urban Land Institute, and TUD to mobilize and accelerate change across all of the Irish construction industry. It is our ambition to expand this collaboration and in the near future launch Construction Declare Ireland, building a cohort of like-minded people across all disciplines to work together. In June, we moved from Architects Declare to Architects Act. Since then, we have held meetings and discussions to mobilize the signatories, understand what they think is critical to achieve the points of the declaration, and encourage more AAI registered practices to sign up. As a result of this, we managed to reach our first milestone of 100 signatories and are currently up to 118. We have established our presence on social media and created a dedicated Facebook group for all interested to support knowledge sharing and discussion. In conjunction with World Green Building Week, we launched our carbon neutral workplace guide to assist any company in joining our mission to change the current disastrous path for 2030. We have established a good relationship with TUD, who together with all Irish architecture schools are driving a change of the curriculum to address the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And we also have many more projects already in the pipeline for the near future, including a public art installation to raise the public awareness of the urgency to act and the impact of the built environment, an interdisciplinary event series on the topic Lead the Money, looking at current trends of sustainability-focused investment and policy that will influence the Irish construction sector, an Irish sustainability practice survey, a practice guide to achieve the points of the declaration, being developed in collaboration with Architects Declare UK, mobilizing other disciplines to launch Construction Declare Ireland, and working together with Architects Declare Global on addressing the 26th Climate Change Conference, which was due to be held in Glasgow in November, that has been postponed due to COVID. So this is our call for action. We encourage you all to join us to make the paradigm shift necessary to address the two biggest challenges of our time. You can do so by signing the declaration or joining our emailing list. Start your journey. It is not expected that signatories achieve the pledges from day one, but what is expected is that we all do our very best to take the necessary steps so that we do before it's too late. You can join the discussion, become part of our working groups, or join our Facebook group. Give us feedback. We would love to hear your thoughts on our work to date and what you think is needed to make the paradigm shift. Follow us on social media to stay up to date. And lastly, invite others. The more people we are, the bigger our chances to succeed. We really do need everyone, everywhere to take action. Thank you.
Thank you, Catriona and Karolina. We've heard from you two, but can you tell us more about your group? Who else is on your team?
Catriona, you are muted.
Sorry, there's construction work going behind me. Thanks, Ronan. Yeah, there's currently 8 of us on the steering group, and we're working, I suppose, on the number of initiatives that Karolina had set out and as part of those working groups in terms of collaboration, education, policy.
Great. And can I just ask you how your talk relates to the theme of unbuilt?
I suppose because Architects Declare is a sustainability movement, it's really about trying to embed sustainable building and construction practices into architecture rather than building at the minute.
Very good. And what are your hopes for 2021?
Well, that we can fulfill the pledges of the declaration or start moving towards that we're able to mobilise the construction industry to take the necessary steps in addressing the goals of the Paris Climate Agreement and the Sustainable Development Goals, and that there's greater unity in the construction sector in Ireland and worldwide to address what needs to be done.
Any last words?
Join us.
Yeah, we hope to have some discussion in the comments, and let's keep it going. Thanks so much for your talk today, guys, and I hope to hear from you and see more from you again this year.
Thank you, Ronan.
All right.
Thank you.